19-year-old Kenneka Jenkins went out for a night of celebration with friends at a Chicago hotel and never came home. Hours later, her body was found inside a walk-in freezer, and the official explanation left more questions than answers. In this video, we uncover the chilling timeline of that night, the strange surveillance footage, the unanswered questions, and the theories that have haunted the public for years. Was Kenneka's death really an accident? Or is there more to the story? Stay with us as we dive deep into the mysterious case of Kenneka Jenkins. Don't forget to subscribe to Uncovering Crime for more true crime stories every week. What do you think happened to Kenneka? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Okay, so today we're diving straight into a really unsettling case. It's from September 2017, the death of 19-year-old Kenneka Jenkins.
Right, at the Crowne Plaza Hotel in Rosemont, Illinois. It's one of those cases that just lodges in your mind.
Definitely. We've looked through a pretty detailed YouTube narrative that covers the timeline, the investigation, the huge public reaction it got.
Yeah, there was a lot of noise around this one.
Exactly. So our mission here really is to try and cut through some of that speculation and get to the core facts, and also look at the questions that just won't go away about how Kenneka died.
It's a difficult one. You start with this image of a young woman just celebrating with friends, a normal night out planned. And it ends so tragically.
Yeah.
That stark contrast, I think, is why it hits so hard and why people are still talking about it. That initial simple plan versus the devastating reality.
Let's start with Kenneka herself, give people a sense of who she was.
Okay.
She was 19, from Chicago. Friends and family described her as bright, outgoing.
Yeah, and she had aspirations, didn't she? Wanted to become a nurse.
That's right. Real potential. Friends said she was funny, kind-hearted, the kind of person who just, lit up a room.
It makes the whole thing feel even more tragic, knowing that context. She was just starting out.
And this specific night, September 8th, 2017, it was supposed to be a celebration for her. She'd just gotten a new job opportunity.
So, a milestone.
Yeah.
Something positive, and it turned into, this.
So the party itself, it was happening in room 926 at the Crowne Plaza Hotel in Rosemont.
Okay. A hotel party.
Yeah, apparently about 30 to 40 people there. Sort of the usual scene, I guess, drinking, maybe smoking, music playing.
Right.
What's interesting and kind of haunting now is that Kenneka actually appeared in some Facebook Live videos from the party earlier in the night.
Oh, really? And how did she seem?
Well, in those clips, she looked pretty normal, laughing, seemed to be enjoying herself.
But that changed later on, according to the narrative you looked at.
Yeah, it seems so. Witnesses, her friends primarily, reported that as the night went on, she became noticeably intoxicated.
So?
Stumbling, slurring her words. Some said she seemed confused at times.
Okay, so clearly impaired.
Right. And then we get to this really crucial point in the timeline. Around 3:20 a.m., her friends say they left the room.
Left her alone.
Well, they said they went to retrieve her car keys and cell phone, which she'd apparently left behind. They claimed they were only gone for a short time, but when they got back to the room, Kenneka wasn't there. She was gone.
Just vanished from the room in that short window. That's the moment everything changes.
Exactly. And that brief absence, that decision to leave her, even for keys and a phone, it's drawn a lot of questions.
Understandably. If someone is visibly struggling, leaving them alone, even briefly, it's a point people focus on.
So the search begins. The friends, according to the account, did look around the hotel for her initially.
But couldn't find her.
No. So sometime around 4:30 a.m., they called her mother, Teresa Martin.
Oh, wow. That must have been a terrifying call to receive.
Absolutely. And Teresa Martin, she didn't waste any time. She got straight to the Crowne Plaza.
And what happened when she arrived?
She immediately went to the hotel staff, pleading with them, basically. Help me find my daughter. Can you check the surveillance cameras?
Which seems like the logical first step, right? Check the tapes.
You'd think so. But this became a huge point of controversy. The hotel management reportedly refused.
Refused? Why?
They cited hotel policy, said they couldn't access or review surveillance footage without an official missing person report filed with the police.
Wow. So procedure over immediate potential danger. That sounds problematic.
It caused a significant delay. Those early hours are critical in any missing person case, right?
Absolutely crucial. Every minute counts. And that policy, that refusal, it cost valuable time. Many argue it cost critical hours.
Yeah. The police eventually did get involved, but it wasn't until later, after daylight, the formal search was delayed.
Just lost time. You can feel the frustration building there.
And then the discovery. It wasn't until Sunday, September 10th, around 1:00 p.m.
So almost a full day, maybe a bit more, after she actually went missing from the room.
Yes. Nearly 24 hours later, they found her body.
And the location. That's the part that's always been so baffling.
Inside a walk-in freezer. But not just any freezer, it was in an unused kitchen area on the hotel's lower levels.
Unused.
Yeah, past other closed kitchens, maintenance areas. Apparently that part of the hotel was even under renovation at the time.
So not a place a guest would normally ever go. Not easily accessible.
Exactly. How does someone end up there? Especially someone last seen at a party on the 9th floor. It doesn't immediately make sense.
No, it doesn't. The geography of it is just perplexing. And the state she was found in.
She was lying face down. The report said she was partially frozen. Her hair was disheveled.
Okay.
She still had her jeans and jacket on, but interestingly, her shoes were missing.
Missing shoes. That's another one of those small, strange details that sticks out. What could that mean? We don't know, but it adds to the puzzle.
So then came the official investigation and the autopsy. The Cook County Medical Examiner's Office ruled her death an accident.
Accidental death. And the cause.
Hypothermia from being in the freezer.
Okay. Did toxicology find anything?
Yes. Alcohol, which wasn't surprising given the party, but also topiramate.
Topiramate. What's that?
It's a prescription medication used sometimes for epilepsy, sometimes for migraines. It wasn't prescribed to Kenneka, as far as we know.
Right, and the combination, alcohol and topiramate.
The medical examiner's report suggested that combination could have severely impaired her motor skills, her coordination, and her judgment, made her disoriented.
Which could potentially explain wandering, maybe stumbling.
Potentially. The report also noted no obvious signs of trauma or assault on her body. So, based on all that, the authorities considered the case closed. Accidental death.
But it didn't really close it for everyone else, did it?
Not at all. The public skepticism kicked in almost immediately. People just couldn't reconcile the official ruling with the circumstances.
Because the core question remained unanswered.
Exactly. How did she get there? How does a young woman, however intoxicated or disoriented, navigate through unfamiliar, non-public, possibly under renovation, lower levels of a hotel, find an unused kitchen, and end up inside a walk-in freezer, unnoticed?
And why didn't anyone see her? Hotel security staff, someone stumbling around, clearly distressed. You'd expect some intervention.
Right. And then there were questions directed back at the friends, too. Why wasn't she watched more closely if she was in that state?
These are fundamental questions about safety, oversight, responsibility. The accidental death ruling provides a what hypothermia, but not a satisfying how or why regarding the journey there.
And that leads us to the surveillance footage. The hotel eventually did release some of it.
After the initial refusal and the delay?
Yes. And the footage itself added another layer of complexity.
What did it show?
It showed Kenneka clearly struggling, stumbling through hallways, bumping into walls. She definitely appeared disoriented, vulnerable.
So it confirmed her state then?
It did. And crucially, the last footage released showed her walking alone through a kitchen area downstairs. Alive, but alone.
Alone. So no one visibly following her or forcing her?
Not in the footage that was released, no. Which, for investigators, might support the wandered off alone theory.
But the public saw something else, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. People watching these clips online started pointing out what they saw as major issues. They talked about gaps in the footage, missing timestamps, edits that seemed jarring or, well, suspicious.
Right, that fueled a lot of the cover-up theories, the idea that the footage was tampered with.
Exactly. Now, the official explanation for the gaps is often standard procedure for motion-activated cameras, right? They don't record constantly unless there's movement.
Correct. Motion-activated systems inherently create gaps. That's technically plausible. But in a case like this, where trust is already low and questions are swirling...
those gaps become sinister. People fill them in with their worst fears.
Precisely. It becomes very difficult to convince a skeptical public that it's just routine technical limitations.
And that skepticism just exploded online. The source we looked at really highlights the sheer volume of theories that emerged on social media.
It became a phenomenon in itself.
Absolutely. Theories range from her being attacked, maybe by someone at the party, maybe someone else, and her death being staged to look like an accident.
Were there suggestions of involvement by others?
Oh, yes. Some theories pointed fingers at hotel staff, suggesting a cover-up. Others were even more extreme, wild conspiracies involving organ trafficking or even betrayal by her own friends.
Wow. That's a huge spectrum of speculation.
It is, and it's really, really important to stress this. None of these alternative theories have ever been backed up by any credible, verifiable evidence.
Right. That's crucial. Speculation is one thing, evidence is another. But it shows the power of an information vacuum, doesn't it? When the official story feels incomplete, people create their own narratives.
Definitely. And through all the speculation, all the online debate, Kenneka's mother, Teresa Martin, has been fighting constantly.
She never accepted the accident ruling, did she?
No, she has consistently said she believes there's more to the story. That it wasn't just a tragic accident, but possibly involved negligence, or maybe something even worse.
Has she taken any action?
Yes. She filed lawsuits against the hotel, the security company, even a restaurant that apparently leased the kitchen space. The core argument was negligence allowing a dangerous area like an unused freezer to be accessible.
So seeking accountability through legal channels.
And publicly, she continues to demand a more thorough, transparent investigation. She wants answers she feels she never got.
Her persistence is understandable. It's that parental drive for truth, for justice for her daughter. It keeps the case from fading away entirely.
So that brings us to today, nearly, 7 years later. Officially, the ruling stands: accidental death by hypothermia, complicated by alcohol and topiramate.
But the case doesn't feel closed for many people.
Not at all. As our source material points out, that lack of closure stems directly from those unanswered questions, the inconsistencies, the feeling that maybe not every possibility was fully explored. How did she get in the freezer? That fundamental question still hangs heavy.
And without a definitive answer to that, the official ruling, while based on the medical evidence found, feels incomplete in explaining the full circumstances. That void persists.
It really does. And amidst all the debate, the theories, the investigation details, it's so important we remember who Kenneka Jenkins was.
Absolutely. She wasn't just a headline or a case file.
She was a person, a daughter, a friend, a young woman with her whole life ahead of her, celebrating a new job. Her life ended in this incredibly tragic and, frankly, still very confusing way.
That human element gets lost sometimes in the online frenzy, but it's the heart of the story.
So let's just recap this deep dive. We've walked through Kenneka Jenkins' disappearance from that hotel party, the shocking discovery of her body in a walk-in freezer, the official finding accidental hypothermia.
And we've touched on the intense public and family skepticism that followed, really fueled by those lingering questions, the surveillance footage issues, the whole unsettling sequence of events.
The central mystery, the thing that keeps people talking, is still, how did she end up there? Alone in that unused, restricted part of the hotel. The official investigation, the footage released, it just hasn't provided a clear, universally accepted answer.
No, it hasn't. The how remains elusive, beyond the substances in her system potentially causing disorientation. The physical journey to that specific spot is the missing piece.
Which leads us to a final thought for you listening to this. Thinking about everything we've discussed, the timeline, the official findings, the doubts, the theories, what part of the story really stays with you?
Yeah, what questions do you still find yourself asking? There's a lot to unpack here, and maybe exploring it further on your own will bring up different perspectives.
It's a case with so many layers.
It truly is. And ultimately, it's a stark reminder of a young life lost far too soon, leaving behind this legacy of unanswered questions and a search for truth that, for many, continues.